REPC general meeting. Thank you. All right. As our custom, we'll go quickly around the room just for introductions. So I think most everybody knows everybody, but it is a nice way so people know who we are. For those who don't know me, I'm Ron Passett with the Wellfleet Police Department.
I'm Sean O'Brien. I'm the coordinator of the Regional Emergency Planning Committee.
Kevin Morley, Public Information Officer, REPC.
Rachel Potts, MEMA Region 2.
Lisa Crowell with Mass Department of Public Health.
Phil Burke, Barnstable County, REPC.
Same Michael Walker.
Crystal Pine, Region 5 HMCC, and I'm Laura Marin, Provincetown. Deirdre Irwins, and County Public Health.
Brian Delat, Sandwich Emergency Management, and Region 5 HMCC.
Chad Austin, Farm Fire.
Ken Farrow, East Ham Fire.
Lee Culver, Howard GMD.
Dan Howard, Amateur Radio Emergency Support Team. Roy Jones, Cape Cod Regional Transit Authority, and the IMT.
Amy Henderson, AmeriCorps Cape Cod.
Amanda Powell, AmeriCorps Cape Cod, and REO.
Diana Gorman, Medical Reserve Corps.
Chris Adams, Centerville Fire and Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce.
Rick Dalton, Cape Cod EMS.
Jerry Hayes, Dennis Health Director, Region 5 HMCC, and the IMT.
Buster Brown, Dennis Fire, and the Barnstable County Incident Manager.
Jim Sullivan, Dennis Police Department.
Mike Clark, Barnstable Police Department.
John Sawyer, Yarmouth Fire Department.
Jeff Tavares, Falmouth Fire.
Leslie Feinberg, Homebase. Angela Simpson, Homebase. Tara McEnroe, Mass Maritime Academy.
Jed Derringer, AmeriCorps Cape Cod. Jeff Rossi, AmeriCorps Cape Cod.
Paul Hoy, Red Cross.
Tim Lynch, new to the IMT.
Thomas Beebe, Massachusetts Maritime Academy.
Nick Million, Plymouth and Brockton Street Wayline.
Debbie Rogers, Falmouth Community Television.
All right. And a reminder that we are being recorded and it'll be aired at a later date, so just so you know. Minutes from March 2nd. Can I get a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
A second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Unanimous? All right. Status reports from our different subcommittees. The Executive Committee.
Yes, the Executive Committee will be meeting next week. They've actually gone into a monthly meeting cycle. We'll be doing that for a little while, and so we have done some additions to the Executive Committee board. The fire chiefs have appointed Chief Rulo from Mashpee. The police chiefs have appointed Chief DiMatteo from Dennis. Eversource has appointed Jerome McDermott, Jerry McDermott that we all know, to be a member, and also Lee Culver will be a member of the Executive Committee. We will be meeting again next Tuesday to get them all sworn in and then continue on with our developments as they go forward. So welcome aboard, everybody. Welcome to the party.
Anybody have any questions for the Executive Committee? Hazmat Tier 2 update.
Yeah, I got a report from Amy. The Cameo database is being put together, and she's trying to get the reports out to the region. So fire chiefs will soon get an email from Amy to schedule a time where the Cameo Tier 2 information can be put into their computers.
Any questions for Amy? We can get them to her.
Yeah.
All right. Health Agent Coalition.
We continue to work on deliverables for FY 2016. We've gone to a number of other monthly meetings scheduled, and we're still trying to figure out how we fit in with the HMCC.
I think so too. Any questions for the health agents?
Great. Terry, you know Brian. Brian, you know Terry, right?
IMT.
Been quiet for events or incidents, still continue for training.
Any questions for IMT? Sheltering Task Group.
I wasn't here for the meeting, so.
But sure, no.
somebody else speak for me.
I was here. We did have a meeting before this meeting. It was sort of gearing away from cold events and getting ready for hurricanes. So we're getting ready for the spring cycle, and we had a chance to review the regional sheltering or the state sheltering plan at the base. So and keep moving forward. Any questions for the sheltering group? Okay. American Red Cross.
Good afternoon. As I said at the last meeting, we're ordering shelter supplies for Nantucket, so we're in the process of arranging delivery dates. That'll double our sheltering capacity with cots and blankets that we have on Nantucket. As you may, those that were here in the sheltering portion, as part of the plan, we'll be ordering about 6,500 heater meals that'll be stored locally for sheltering operations. So that'll be Red Cross inventory that'll be stored in conjunction with MEMA, so that's in process. We have one shelter trailer on Cape that's operational at, I'm sorry, we keep one permanently stored here and it is operational. I didn't want to apply it to some that aren't. That's mobile sheltering for 100 people, and we have another that are just across the bridge for another 300. So those are all operational should we need mobile supplies. We've been light on shelter activity statewide, so we've had no openings since our last meeting. The next thing that we have on our radar screen is we're running course disruption centers for the Boston Marathon in conjunction with the BAA should they have to evacuate the course. They will operate as shelters without the dormitory component, so we have preparation and planning ongoing for that. And just outside of sheltering, we continue to be very active on Cape with our normal canteening at fire events and servicing fire clients. So it's been a pretty active season so far. Thank you.
Any questions for Red Cross? Nima?
The grant process is changing slightly for the HMEP grant, and so we're having a briefing tonight. There's one right now, but one at 6 o'clock tonight if you're interested. If you're not able to make it, we can come out to meet with you and kind of brief you on it. But we just finished the last cycle and we're starting the other one already. So we're doing a little bit more in the beginning rather than the end stage of it. So if you have any questions, just see me after. I'm happy to help.
Any questions for Mima? Open Cape Liaison.
Okay. Actually, this group will be changing its name to the Technology Subcommittee. We just met last week to discuss, we had a vendor come in to go over body cams. Besides body cams, we're also looking at FirstNet and to see when FirstNet will be deployed in the area. Always looking for membership if anybody wants to be a part of the committee. I think our chair is going to be the IT director for the Sheriff's Department.
Yes.
So he was not at the last meeting, so he was volunteered. And, no, he wasn't. Yeah, just kidding. But he will be our new chair. And ideally, the reason for putting this group together was just we have a lot of different programs going on, a lot of different technology. First and foremost, I mean, we're going to see a lot of a push, especially from the public, but also from government entities about the use of body cameras. In order to do this, I think you really have to sit down and look at the issue with a fine-tooth comb. It's not just putting them on. It's just a matter of knowing what the legalities are, what the storage capabilities are, etc. And one of the things that I think we're going to really start to get into is just some of the legal issues that go along with it. We've talked to the DA's office. We will be talking with town council, town lawyers, attorneys, and also talking to the Attorney General's office to see how a lot of this data may need to be kept. So it's a good group, and we will be meeting again. We meet every 2 months, so our next meeting will be in June.
And I know one of the things that they're looking at is the fire application, because right now we're dealing with video, would be an ambulance to the hospital and patient updates, and my head's getting spinning already when I think about all the stuff that's out there. So definitely need some help and some guidance out there. Any questions for the IT group? All right. Citizen Corps.
Amy actually sent me a report for this too. Citizens Corps is going to meet to finalize the Elder E-Prep card that the Sheriff's Department is assisting us with as well. They'll be doing the printing of it. Also, the Citizens Corps Council will be working on a VRC drill for the fall. They're looking to schedule it during September, during National Preparedness Month.
Anybody have a question they want to get to Amy? All right. Aries.
The Aries team is fully functional and everything is going fine. No change since the last meeting. We're still awaiting the antennas on the roof of this building, but we're just waiting for the weather to change.
Anybody have any questions for Aries? Sheriff's Office. I think we have anything here. No. All right. PIO.
We're working on the shelter video series, and things are moving along nicely.
Any questions for the PIO? All right. We'll move on from the subcommittee group, and we'll bring on the 2016 hazardous material exercise, and we have our cadets from Mass Maritime here.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. I am Thomas Beebe. I'm a senior over at Mass Maritime Academy. I am one of 2 team leaders for our capstone class, and as our entire class, we will be planning a emergency management exercise for Barnstable, but more specifically, we're going to be doing it in Wellfleet with the National Park Service around the Marconi Beach area. The exercise date is planned for May 18th, and it's going to be held at the National Park Service headquarters in Wellfleet, at their headquarters right there near the beach. It should run approximately from 8:30 to 2:30 p.m. April 13th at 6 o'clock. I'm not sure exactly who's going to be there. I know Sean is going to be there, but members of the RAPC will be there to actually choose one of 2 scenarios that the teams will be coming up with, and then we will come together as a whole class and continue moving forward on the exercise as a whole. We've met with the police, Chief Fissette, we met with Chief Pauly in Wellfleet, and we've also met with representatives from the National Park Service and answered a lot of questions to come up with information we need for our exercise. Invitations should be sent out within the next week or so, and we will be back again in May for the RAPC meeting again with more information and specifics. Any questions that I might be able to answer? All right, thank you.
Just a reminder to everybody, every year the Maritime Academy assists us with, they actually put on our annual hazmat drill, and they do an excellent job of it. And this year, we've actually decided to go back to the Outer Cape. It's been a long time. Yeah, I think it's been about 11, 12 years since we've tried to do something on the Outer Cape. So this is a great opportunity, and the cadets are doing a great job. I know the other day they were over at the National Seashore and taking notes and really doing a good job putting together a good example, good exercise for us. I just want to say this is a recertification year for us. We have to get our recertification in, and one of the reasons why we're looking at a May timeframe instead of an early June is the sooner that we can get that done, the sooner we can get that submitted with our hazmat plan and our application to MEMA for our full certification as an emergency planning committee. So our goal is to have this done, get our after action report. I think we'll be enlisting the assistance of the incident management team to maybe assist with the development of the after action report. We will get everything into MEMA and hopefully get recertified or receive the recertification in the fall. And that will be good for the next 5 years. I think the thing that's probably slowing us up a little bit is the plan. We're trying to make the plan a little bit less of the monster that it is. It's a pretty big plan, and so our goal is to try to kind of focus on maybe having an executive summary or something that goes with it in order to make it a more usable plan. The other thing to expect this year is that we're going to be asking all of you that are representing communities to get us in front of either your town manager, your boards of selectmen, your town council, however the town does it, to get the plan and the application approved. We have to have a letter from the towns that basically says that you'll continue to serve in the Regional Emergency Planning Committee, and that you will also have specific hours for Tier 2 reports, and you will follow the hazardous materials plan. It's all going to be a long process, but it all works together and it all fits. Additionally, Kevin doesn't know this yet, but he will be helping us with editing. It's funny how he just stopped the typing. Yeah, he will be assisting us with the editing of the plan. If anybody wants to participate with some of the plan components, that would be great. I completely understand if you don't. It is a monster, but we'll get it done. So just a little update as to where we're at.
But we'll be providing a draft for the select board or town council or whatever to sign off on, or whatever motion they need to do for us.
And just so you know, it's gonna be all electronic this year. We're not gonna kill trees. We're moving towards an electronic, we're in an electronic age, so everybody's gonna be getting a number of thumb drives for their communities, is our goal. It also helps us because it gives us an extra year for the lease on our photocopier with having to make up some story for, whoops, we're on camera. It helps us out having it all on a thumb drive.
Any questions? All right. Hearing none, we'll move on to our presentation. We have representatives from the Homebase Public Safety Training Program. Great. All right.
Great. Okay, stuff is being passed out. I was actually given Leslie's contact information from a friend of ours, Stephanie Cox, who used to work for, she was with Community Action Committee, worked there for a while. She's gone and she's doing some of her own consulting. She also, I think, worked for Representative Turner as well. One of the things that we talked about was, it sounds like there's some fantastic trainings coming out for first responders. And also trainings and correct me if I'm wrong, Leslie, to recognize folks who may have PTSD.
Yeah, we're gonna walk you through the whole thing.
And so there are some specific trainings that may be available, and I think there may be some online trainings. There also may be some trainings that they will come right out to your facility and do. So we thought this might be a good opportunity today. So let me get the PowerPoint going, and Leslie, we'll hand it over to you.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, you're gonna love it. All right, I'll put it right from the beginning. There you go. And just let me know when to change the slide.
You got it. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Leslie Feinberg. I'm a project manager from the Red Sox Foundation Mass General Hospital Homebase program. What we thought we would do today is briefly, we'd first tell you about Homebase, our organization, what we do, what services we provide, because a lot of people don't know about Homebase at all. We're the best kept secret that's not a secret. And then I'm going to walk you through real quick the training initiative that we're doing to see potentially how you can participate. So this is my colleague Angela Sinsis. She's on our veteran outreach team at Homebase. She's been at Homebase a while. She's also a military police in the National Guard.
All right. So I'll talk to you a little bit about the Homebase program and what we do. All right. So this is our mission statement. We are primarily focused on providing mental health care and other services to post 9/11 veterans. And we have a couple of different ways that we do this and a couple of things that make us unique. Number one is that we see veterans no matter what their discharge status is. And why that's important is because veterans with bad discharge statuses are not eligible for VA care. So we sort of bridge that gap and are able to provide veterans with services that they may not otherwise be entitled to. We see the entire family, and that's what the veteran determines their family as. So it could be a parent, it could be a girlfriend or boyfriend, sibling, roommate, it doesn't matter to us. As long as that person is in the veteran support system and is a resource for that veteran, they are considered family at Homebase. And payment's not a barrier to care. If a veteran has insurance, we're required by law to bill, but if they don't have insurance, they're not going to be seeing any bills or co-pays or anything like that from Homebase. So we provide, as you can see, all of that, all of those different specific, unique factors to our program. So for For our clinic, we have a clinic in Boston, so it's located at 101 Merrimack Street, and we do traditional outpatient mental health treatment there. So when a veteran calls the clinic, they're talking to somebody that's either deployed to Iraq or Afghanistan. That's their first point of contact with the program. We'll talk about it, we'll tell them about what to expect, and we'll remain a non-clinical advocate for that veteran throughout the duration of their time seeking care at Homebase. We have another program that I'll talk more about in a couple of minutes. That's our intensive clinical program, and what that is a 2-week program. We fly veterans. It's a nationwide program. And it might be most applicable to veterans that you might know in the community, because we'll transport them to Boston, we'll put them up in housing, we will provide them with food and a lot of treatment. So individual care, group care, and again, I'll talk more about that. We have different groups that are available for those that are located in the Boston area to come in, for parents, support groups to just help the veteran through their access to their family and providing psychoeducation and other services. So we have a education and research component, which is a large component. Leslie's going to talk about one of the initiatives that we're doing within the education. But we have an entire website that's dedicated to providing people that are in the military, people that are not in the military, people that want to know more about the military, with different educations based on better understanding of post-traumatic stress, traumatic brain injury, any sort of reintegration issues that a veteran might be facing. And I'm just going to take a step back and specify. So we see veterans and service members. So it can be members of the National Guard, reserves, that or active duty that haven't necessarily deployed but have a military-related issue. So it could be they fell off of a truck or got into a car accident while they were in training or something along those lines. Also military sexual trauma. They don't need to have been deployed overseas to be able to receive care at home base. We have a wellness program that's a partnership with Northeastern, and what we do is we have individualized plans for veterans that are in that program, and they're able to attend as many or as few sessions as they would like. And the ultimate goal that we're trying to bring to the community is a holistic approach, that there's not a one-size-fits-all treatment to post-traumatic stress. So it might be the fitness component, it might be the family component, or something else that we might be able to provide with them, the veterans or the community with, to help create a better understanding. So our intensive clinical program. So this is individual therapy, group therapy, and every other kind of therapy that you really could imagine. The veterans will be doing Tai Chi one day, and they will be doing puppy therapy another day. And the idea, again, is that whether it's art therapy or whether it is a long hike or prolonged exposure, different types of therapies work for veterans in different ways. And so we have them for 2 weeks, and then we create a very thorough plan for them, whether it's to continue seeking treatment at home base on an outpatient or connecting them to a community resource that's at home.
I just wanted to chime in a little bit about the ICP. A couple of things that are really helpful to your community about this is that for a while, people that did know about home base, especially if they were, more than 30 minutes outside the city, didn't really think that it was realistic to have people drive into Boston to get treatment once a week. So this program really came forward so that we can treat people that are a little bit further away. And the reason that it's 2 weeks is because people can go on vacation for 2 weeks and people don't really ask what they're doing, right? And so it's specifically 2 weeks. Like Angela said, there's all of our services, whether it's outpatient care, whether it's the ICP, whether it's education, all of it is at no cost to the veteran or the family member. So, this is pretty cool. We've already done 3 iterations. They stay, I believe, at the Marriott in Charlestown. It's a really small group, I think of 6 or 8 people. A ton of clinicians work on there. They do all these different types of therapy. And we're really hoping to let you guys know about this because we know You may work with post 9/11 veterans in the community that you think may benefit from this. One other point that I just wanted to make about this is that, so Homebase works with veterans that have PTSD, traumatic brain injury, and other invisible wounds of war. So that can be depression, anxiety, substance use disorder, but PTSD or TBI are normally the primary. So as we all know, substance abuse issues are rampant in the community or all throughout the country and in the state. And we still encourage people, if they're in a more acute phase, to contact Homebase, because while it may not be the best fit immediately, we can try and connect them with the best services possible and then bring them back to Homebase for outpatient care after they've had more intensive care. I think I heard that 1 in 3 veterans returning home has an invisible wound of war, and 50% of those veterans that have post-traumatic stress disorder have comorbidity with substance use disorder. So a lot of times, if someone is drinking a lot, it's up to the clinician to determine whether they can continue doing it as an outpatient care, or if we work closely with a program at McLean, the LEADER program, and we do have people on staff that specialize in substance use, but they definitely would have to have PTSD as well, and have, as a primary, and to be a post 9/11 veteran. The other thing, real quick, is that she mentioned is that, so we work with the individual and the family, but we work with the family whether or not the veteran comes for care at all. So sometimes the veteran's the last one to notice that there may be an issue, right? And so, and family is defined loosely, so it can be husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, roommate. And so sometimes a parent will contact Homebase and say, I'm really concerned about my son or daughter. They got home, they're not sleeping, they're drinking a lot, they're avoiding certain environments, they're hypervigilant. I'm not really sure what to do, and so we set them up with this clinician at Homebase, and they can come in, and sometimes that's the way that we actually get a veteran in, is through their family. And so just want to make a point of that as well. That's something that sort of differentiates us from the VA. We work closely with the VA. We love the VA. But there's certain things, like Angela was talking about, discharge status, that the VA doesn't work with, and they also don't work with families, per se. And so those are just a couple things I just wanted to point out.
Absolutely. And another thing is that because of our affiliation with Mass General Hospital, all of the information that we have, we couldn't provide it to anyone without signed releases. So that level of confidentiality is a large encouraging factor for people that are either still on the job or in the military, and they don't want their seeking treatment to impact or their perceived reaching out for care to look as though it's going to hinder their military or their first responder career. So that is something to consider as well.
I know a lot of people ask, so why post 9/11 veterans? Because it's a very specific population. And what happened was, I believe in 2007, when the Red Sox won the World Series, Tom Warner took the team down to DC, and they went to Walter Reed, and they were supposed to stay for a couple hours. They wound up staying for the whole day. They were greatly impacted, and they wanted to do more. And they said to the people at Walter Reed, how could we be of help? And they said, well, really, it's the invisible wounds of war that people don't see. And so Tom Warner came back and met with the head of MGH and met with Senator Kennedy, and that's sort of how Homebase came about. A lot of people know Homebase through our big fundraiser, the Run to Homebase. So sometimes people think Homebase is a run. We do a run once a year, but it's most people know about that because it's publicized at Red Sox games. And so, yes.
I was going to say another thing that we do, some lighter touch programs. So we have a Resilient Warrior program, which is from the Benson Henry Institute at Mass General, and what that is like just basic resilience techniques. So maybe somebody doesn't need therapy on a weekly basis, but they just need some of the skills to be developed to be able to handle situations more effectively. And we also have in our Venture series, and that any veteran of any era can sign up for that. Free events in New England. We'll take veterans to snowboarding in Wachusett, or we do different events throughout the year. So Coming up, we're gonna be doing duck tours in Boston for free and the Museum of Science and stuff like that. And again, it's just to bring the community together, get veterans and their families interacting with each other. And so it's a lot of fun if you have a chance to do that. We do some free boating and other things.
And we really try and eliminate barriers to care. I was just thinking people coming from Cape into the city again. I think we have a partnership with the retired Mass State Police where they often will bring people up for care and drive them up. We also, if you come into the city, you may have said this, we'll pay for parking. We have a parking garage. So just trying to, make it as easy as possible for people to come and receive care and not have it's already stressful enough, and to make that call and to seek care. And so we don't want to eliminate as many barriers as we can. So if you come across anyone in the community or in your work, this is the number for the clinic. The clinic's only 9 to 5, so if it's an emergency, we always say, call 911 or call the SAVE team. I guess Homebase says that you should get an appointment within 2 weeks. And so that is the main number for the clinic. And then, is there anything else about treatment?
I would say just if you have a question or you're looking to get somebody into care, reach out to us, because if we're not the right resource, we'll be able to have our social work team provide you with the resource that would be most beneficial for that veteran. Because the last thing we want to do is just get a veteran into care. We want to make sure that they're going to have the results that they're looking for. So making that call and having a conversation about it is always beneficial. So.
Yeah, before I go on to the sort of shift to the training part, do you guys have any questions about Homebase and the services we provide? I also provide you with my business card. You could always call me later on or email me and be happy to talk with you about it. Anything? Okay. All right, so we'll try and be somewhat quick. So, let's see, so the Massachusetts Attorney General provided Homebase with a $1.2 million grant to build custom curriculum for first responders around the invisible wounds of war. And first responder is, I guess, anyone that would identify that way. I mean, we're talking police, fire, EMS, people that work for ambulance companies, corrections, however you would identify a first responder in your community. And so over the course of the last year, home-based clinicians, so physicians, worked with first responders to build this curriculum so it would be useful to them. So we worked with Cambridge Fire, we worked with Boston EMS, and we're hoping that it's relevant and that you guys will find it useful. On February 12th, we launched the initiative. So right now, there are 5 free trainings available online at homebase.org/first responder. You all have one of these in your folder. The goal of the trainings are, so they're all under 30 minutes. They're all EMS certified. You get free credits for EMS. The goal of the training actually is for the community. So the goal is when first responders interact with veterans every day in the community, whether sometimes they know it, sometimes they don't. And we're hoping by doing these 30-minute trainings with home-based clinicians that work with veterans every day, that first responders will have will better be able to recognize the signs and symptoms of PTSD, of traumatic brain injury, and of other invisible wounds of war, and will also know what resources are available to veterans and how to connect them with care. So, a lot of this is just awareness. It's, they're only 30 minutes, so we're not going to be able to cure PTSD in that period of time, but Homebase is one of many different resources. So one of the things that clinicians do toward the end is they talk about what resources are available. We've also built out a section on our website that is specifically for first responders. Another thing we wanted to make note of is that, so this is for the community, but what has happened, which I think we knew would happen, is that many first responders are veterans. So, we met with Boston Fire, Boston Police, and I think civil service, so I think Boston Fire, the last 4 classes were all veterans coming in. And so, this is something that not only do they see in the community, but they may see in each other. And so we've really gotten a really good response from the first responder community, really feeling connected to this and wanting more people to do it. So yes, veterans can definitely do the training, but it's even more relevant for non-veterans to do the training. So far, the most popular one is military culture. And so I'm going to show you like a 2-minute video that sort of summarizes what I just said, and then I just have a couple questions for you guys.
Already nationally recognized for their unique approach to healing the invisible wounds of war, Homebase, a Red Sox Foundation and Mass General Hospital program, has launched a new initiative designed to educate and train first responders and healthcare professionals in Massachusetts to identify and care for post-9/11 veterans.
Clearly one of the most important issues in getting people the treatment they need for these invisible wounds of war is to identify those individuals and not let them slip through the cracks.
The trainings, titled Serving Those Who Have Served, Practical Approaches to Addressing the Invisible Wounds of War in Post-9/11 Service Members and Veterans, consist of a series of videos featuring local veterans who share their experiences regarding the challenges they faced resulting from their invisible wounds.
I was never scared when I thought I was going to die on the operating table, but I said the scariest moment of my entire deployment was coming home.
It's not to be forgotten that it is those moments in time that are opportunities to really make a difference. We heard sometimes people feeling, well, I'll never learn how to treat post-traumatic stress disorder and traumatic brain injury. I won't have the opportunity to make a difference, but you do have an opportunity to make a difference.
I wasn't even thinking straight. And I decided I said, you know what, today's the day. I'm not going to live anymore.
Made possible through a $1 million grant from the Massachusetts Attorney General's office, the trainings are available online, on demand. They each run under an hour and are accessible to all who would benefit from learning to recognize the signs of post-traumatic stress, traumatic brain injury, and substance abuse. The trainings also help first responders identify suicide risk and understand how military culture impacts care.
Now more than ever, we need to make sure that our first responders, our nurses and allied health professionals who are on the front lines day in and day out, working with veterans and military families, are able to best recognize the signs of these issues and then help folks overcome these barriers to accessing care.
This is what I love about Mass General Hospital and the Homebase program, that we are addressing these challenges early on.
The motto at Homebase is, their mission is complete, ours has just begun. These first responder trainings will expand Homebase's existing educational programming that has already reached more than 25,000 clinicians, educators, and community members nationwide.
Field, I would love to talk with you afterward. I don't want to confuse people by providing you with too much information. I guess so. We've met with police, fire, EMS all over the state, and ambulance companies, and we started in Boston. Like I said, Commissioner Finch, Commissioner Evans and Chief Hooley really championed this at the beginning. Chief Kais in Chelsea has been phenomenal. We're briefing the major chiefs. We actually were on the Cape last week and we met with Chief Frederickson and Chief Wynn. And everyone's been great, but we also know that training works differently for police, fire, and EMS. And we've been learning, as we've been going through this process, sort of how this all works. I would love to follow up with you each individually. The MPTC, this does count as in-service training. They are going to try and get it on for next year as well to be part of the curriculum. But if your department has in-service training hours left, this would count. Like I said, there's EMS credits, and so how do people help? So sometimes we meet with chiefs and they say, or ambulance companies or EMS, and they say, we're just going to have everyone do it. We want everyone to do at least one. Because once you set up an account, you can do 1 or you can do 5. Like each one's separate. And so they may do that. Some say, we're going to get 30 people in the room, and we're gonna have them watch it together. Some people say, you know, I'm gonna email it to everyone, it's up to them whether they wanna do it. Some people, it's really helpful when you put it on social media. And then we've also learned that a lot of people love online training, and you know, they're short, but some people prefer in-person training. The reality of it is that we have 4 clinicians that do in-person training, and they're also full-time clinicians in a clinic. So I could definitely talk with you individually if you're interested in that. It is possible. Just in the next few months, in order to do that, we have to do 100 plus. Because in order for clinicians to come out and miss a day in the clinic, that's sort of where we are with that. And that's happening. I think Boston Fire is going to do a big one. We met with the mayor in the city of Brockton yesterday, and fire and police and EMS, and they want to do a big one. So, you know, in your community or, you know, in your department, if you think that it'd be helpful to have a big in-person training, please email me and let me know what your needs are, and also for health professionals. And, you know, please spread the word. Please have people that you work with take a few minutes to do at least one of these trainings. We'd be very grateful. And you know, you have my contact information, so feel free to follow up if you have any questions. And I guess the last thing is, we really are trying to meet with a lot of people in the community about this first responder training. So if you think it would be useful to meet with anyone in your community to talk about the training, like we're doing today, let me know that as well. I think we're gonna be coming back to brief the, sorry if you get this twice, some people in the room, to brief the Barnstable County Fire Chiefs Association. We're going to be doing that in a few weeks, so if you think that it'd be helpful, please let me know that as well. And we're very grateful for your time. We know you're very busy, Sean, really appreciate it, and thanks for all that you do every day.
Anybody have any questions for Leslie in the group?
Leslie, do you have I didn't get your card, so do you have an email address?
Yeah, I'll give you a card. We also have some extra flyers on the back table if you want to take some with you. So we have some of the, I can show you some of the flyers. They're all the same information, just some have more detailed information. And the poster that you have, the first responder poster, some people like to hang that up. Feel free to grab a bunch of those. We have some pens back there. And if, like I said, if you're a health professional and you want a little more information, I have some stuff for you as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. Next on the agenda, any news or open announcements or information good for the order? Okay. Any comments from the public? Hearing none. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? Second. All right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.